Tennessee and Georgia have been annual rivals since 1992. They started playing each other in 1992 when the SEC, annually that is, when the SEC split into two divisions and decided that they would put Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Kentucky in the East, and Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, and Arkansas in the West. Since then, there have been some amazing games in this series. Tennessee dominated early, won every single game in the 90s. Georgia has dominated as of late. It's almost perfect symmetry. But in the middle, there were some crucial games that really decided outcomes of the season. For those who don't remember, the 2003 matchup decided who won the SEC East, which was a big deal. The 2004 matchup decided who won the SEC East, which was a big deal. The 2007 matchup decided who won the SEC East, which was a big deal. And the 2022 matchup decided who won the SEC East. And the 2022 matchup may have decided who won the SEC championship that year too. The other three, the one who won the East didn't actually go win the SEC title. But not just those games, by the way. There were a couple of others, just so you know. The 1997 matchup, everybody thinks about Florida from that year. If Tennessee loses to Georgia that year, Georgia wins the East. So that one did decide the SEC title for all intents and purposes. So 97, let's just think about this for a minute and some games that have decided the SEC East between Tennessee and Georgia. And actually 98, because Georgia finished 6-2 in 98. If Georgia beats Tennessee in 98, then Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia are all 7-1. They all beat each other, so it decided to share. So 97 and 98 decided who won the SEC East. 2003 decided who won the SEC, who actually represented the team in the SEC East in the SEC title game. 2004 decided who won the SEC East. 2007 decided who won the SEC East. And 2022 decided who won the SEC East. A lot of times this game has had major implications. And for what it's worth, there was no East last year, but the 2024 game did decide who would play Texas in the SEC title, and maybe have decided the SEC title itself since Georgia beat Tennessee. When you break all of that down, 97, 98, 2003, 2004, 2007, 2022, 2024, 7 times it deciding it, the winner winning it, or going to the SEC title game. Guys, this game throughout the series history has had the same type of impact the Florida game has. I mean, that's crazy to say, but it is. Let's talk about the times the Tennessee-Florida game decided the SEC East. Okay, because we can count those too, because we're talking 1993, it decided the SEC East. 1990, everybody thinks during that 5-game winning streak during the 90s. We'll say 1994 it did too. So 93, 94, 95, 96, the winner won the East. Florida every time. And it decided it. Fair enough. 99 and 2000, 98, 99 and 2000, it decided it. Okay, I'm seeing a point here. In 2001, it decided it. So 8 times it decided the SEC East winner. But the rivalry really started to fizzle off before then. And since 2000, Georgia has had a bigger impact on the series, believe it or not, than Florida did. Oh, and 2002 decided who would have been a 3-way tie in the SEC East had Tennessee beat Georgia. All this is to say that this rivalry has carried a lot of magnitude over the years. A ton. There are some legendary moments between Tennessee and Georgia since this rivalry began. The 92 win over Georgia propelled Philip Fulmer to a national profile and is what got him the head coaching job at Tennessee eventually, okay? The 95 one was Peyton Manning's coming out party, a game-winning drive to beat Georgia that year. The 98 one, Lee Corso and College Game Day were in Athens. Tennessee was 4-0, and they picked Georgia to win with a freshman quarterback. Tennessee won 22-3. That was the turning point of the season for Team Martin to take over. The 99 one, Georgia stomps on the tee. Tennessee wins. We obviously know the hobnail boot game of 2001. We know the Sean Jones fumble return of 2003. The shocking upset by Tennessee over Georgia in 2004. Hanging 50 in Athens in 2006. The shocking 35-14 blowout in 2007 over a Georgia team to finish the year ranked number 2. This series has had a lot of fun, exciting, incredible moments. So will you be sad to see the rivalry go? That is today's tough question, brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win. Why settle? Banks & Jones by T. Scott Jones, BanksandJones.com. And I say yes. I say yes. I think this rivalry carries as much magnitude as weight as Florida. If you look past the 90s and just start in 2000, this series has had more impact than the Tennessee-Florida series. I mean, Florida's just straight up owned Tennessee since 2004, but this series has had significant impact since then. And I think when you take that into account, I think that, yes, this rivalry will be missed. So that is the poll question. Vote on it now. Will you be sad to go yes or no when I come back after a quick message from Banks and Jones? Again, today's tough question represented by Banks and Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, play to win, why settle? Banks and Jones, MIT Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. A quick message from them, and we're going to talk about how they could maybe preserve this rivalry.
Why Banks and Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks and Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks and Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks and Jones. T. Scott Jones. banksandjones.com.
All right, the poll question. Will you be sad to see the Tennessee-Georgia rivalry go? 50% say yes. 50% say no. Now, I'm adding a new poll question. Should Tennessee-Georgia rivalry be preserved when the SEC goes to 3 protected annual rivals each year? In 3 protected games, annual games. Okay, there we go. Okay. Should the Tennessee-Georgia rivalry be preserved when the SEC goes to 3 protected annual games? Yes, they're a top 3 Vols rival. Yes, SEC should increase protected games. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Yes, SEC should increase protected games. All right, there we go. How about no? You have to cut one. Or no, it's not a big rivalry. All right, so here we go. This is going to be the question, and you guys can answer it this way. Should Tennessee-Georgia rivalry be preserved when the SEC goes to 3 protected annual games? Yes, they're a top 3 Vols rival. Yes, increased number of protected games. No, you have to cut one. No, it's not a big rivalry. You guys go ahead and vote on that right now. It's the poll question. So again, should the Tennessee-Georgia rivalry be preserved when the SEC goes to 3 protected annual games? Yes, they're a top 3 Vols rival. Yes, increase the number of protected games. No, you have to cut one. No, it's not a big rivalry. My vote is increase the number of protected games. I'm shocked that Tennessee-Georgia wasn't a big rivalry before 1992. They're 3 hours apart. Tennessee to Athens. Now, you could say, yes, Tennessee-Georgia Tech was the original rival, and Georgia Tech was an SEC school at one point. But then they moved to the ACC. Georgia made sense as a natural rival. They are so close to each other. I think this should be one of the protected games. Here's my hot take. I don't care to see the SEC every team play every team twice in a 4-year period. I don't. I care to see more rivalries preserved. So I'd rather preserve 5 Tennessee rivalries. Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. I'll go a step further. I'd rather see 7. Add Ole Miss and Auburn. I don't care. I'd rather see them played annually. And then Tennessee can rotate the other, however many teams that is. That's 7 annual rivals. They can rotate the other 8 over the 4-year period to get to 9 conference games a year. That is really a hot take by me, but I'm much bigger on protecting the rivalries and the tradition of the rivalries than I am making sure Tennessee gets to play Texas A&M at home and on the road over every 4-year period. I don't really care about that. I care about seeing them play Georgia every year. I care about seeing them play Florida every year. So again, Georgia, Florida, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Alabama, they should protect. They should also protect Auburn and Ole Miss. Bring those back. I'm dead serious on that. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I'm dead serious. Protect all 7. Every one of those was an SEC rivalry for Tennessee at some point. Then the other 8 SEC teams, Tennessee can play all of them over a 4-year span. They just won't play all of them twice. Who cares? Who cares? I don't really care if Tennessee is playing Texas A&M twice every year. I don't care if they're playing Oklahoma twice every year. I don't care if they're playing Missouri twice every year. And I don't care if they're playing Arkansas twice every 4 years. Okay. I just got to be honest. I think that everybody's missing the boat on this, and the SEC is severely missing the boat. And by the way, not just for Tennessee. Let's go out west for a minute. Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and Texas A&M should all be playing each other every year. There is history between all of those teams. They should all be playing each other every single year. Protect 5 to 7 rivalries a year. Georgia should be playing. Georgia's 3 protected ones will be Auburn, South Carolina, and Florida. Those are all 3 old school Georgia rivalries, but they should also be playing Tennessee every year. There's a lot of history with that one. Okay. So you should at least be giving Georgia 4 rivalry games every year because of the history. This is where I'm landing. There is a lot of history between so many different games in this conference. I don't really care to see just play everybody all the time and throw the rivalries out. No, protect the rivalries. And I think it's much more important to protect the rivalries than it is to try to make sure every SEC team plays every other SEC team at least twice over a 4-year period. So the poll question, should the Tennessee-Georgia rivalry be preserved when the SEC goes to 3 protected annual games? 29% say yes, they're a top 3 Vols rival. 29% say no, you have to cut one. 29% say no, it's a big rivalry. It's not a big rivalry. But 12% say yes, increase the number of protected games. I'm with the 12%. Increase the number of protected games. I'm very big on that one.